Hi guys, this is Crafty Cat. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. We're going to be painting this elephant that I already sketched out in my little sketchbook. And we're going to be using the paints that I have set out here. So first of all, we have the beautiful beam paints that are made in Canada. And we have the beautiful set of Grabie Metallic paints. There's 40 different colors and there are unboxings on my channel for all of these. And I also have these cute little cookie cutters that I'm going to use to make hearts so that the elephant looks like he's blowing bubbles with the hearts. Okay? So first we're going to have to add water to the sketchbook page. So I'm using my big flat brush from Artigria, which I really love that set of brushes. They're my favorite brushes. So I'm just adding some water here to wet the page. And the page is already taped down. And as you can see, I'm using these big clips to kind of hold it firmly in place so hopefully it won't buckle too much. Because watercolor needs water, especially if you want to do a loose wash. And that's what I'm planning to do for this very first layer is I want to mix the blues with the beam paint and just add a very loose wash of blue and maybe a little touch of green down in the water. I looked at a picture of this elephant on Unsplash and I used it for the elephant and the water and a few of the rocks. And now I'm switching to the size 6 Artigria round brush, which I really like and use a lot. And we're going to be using the beam paints. And I want to do a light wash now that we have this page all wet. So I'm adding some blue to the top and I'm trying to make it really watery and runny so it will run down the page. And I just want a light blue. This will be the first layer and I want this almost everywhere. And at the bottom, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to make just a touch of green water at the very bottom under the elephant. So we're just going to do that. And you can't see it because it's underneath my gravy tray, but I have a little mixing palette for the beam paints right underneath where I've already mixed up some very watery blue and also some purples. So that's what we're doing here. Just adding water and letting it flow. This beam paint flows really nicely when you add it to a lot of water. It's a very nice paint. It's made right here in Canada in Manitoulin Island, about a 3.5 hour drive from me. I'm further north than they are. So I'm just dabbing the blue in. I'm not really being very careful because I want the blue to be in the water, in the sky, in the elephant. And when it dries, it's going to be much lighter than this. So I could have gone darker. And I'm just going to lift this up and let the water run. You can see how it's running. I'm sorry that I didn't film me sketching the elephant. I thought that I had, but it didn't work. I don't know what happened. So now I'm just using a Kleenex, a tissue, and I'm just dabbing where there's too much water or where I want it to be a little bit lighter. Now when you do this, because it's wet on wet, I should have gone and re-wet the spot where I'm dabbing it out. But I'm learning as I go. Because if you go to add paint where you've dabbed it out, you've got now drier paper. See, I'm adding some yellow here because I want there to be green, and yellow and blue makes green. So I should have just left the blue in, but there was so much water down at the bottom there. So I'm just going to dab with my tissue and add more water until it goes okay, the way I like it. And where it looks really yellow at the bottom, that's okay because that's just on the tape where I used it to tape it down. Because just underneath the water, underneath the elephant, the water looks a little bit green. In the actual picture, it looks yellow, more yellow than green. But I decided to go with green because the yellow looks like it looks to me like the elephant peed in the water if it's yellow. So I want it to be more greeny yellow than green. So I'm just dabbing with color where the rocks are going to be. I want a few rocks at the end of the water. And even though in the picture there's all kinds of rocks in the background, I want it to just be a very light sky. So there's contrast for the hearts that I want to make later. And now I'm dabbing some of that blue onto the elephant. The elephant is going to be purple and blue. It's going to be like a fantasy picture, not really realistic, more stylized, I guess. I don't know. I don't know my terminology for painting yet. It's slowly coming. I do enjoy it though. So, you guys, I am doing a voiceover because as I was doing this, I was listening to the Osmonds. They're my one of my favorite bands for my whole life. And I find when I listen to music, I paint better than when I don't. I think listening to music helps me get into a more creative mindset. And I can't, so far, I can't narrate what I'm doing while I'm doing it, or I just can't do it because then I can't get into that creative mindset that I need to be in while I'm painting. How about you? Do you paint? Do you find it's easier to not talk to anyone while you're painting or to listen to music? So now I'm just holding this up and taking a look and letting the water spread. And I'm just trying to get the water underneath less yellow and more green. And that will come eventually. This is just the first layer. One nice thing that I've learned is that you can do more layers. So when I did that little pointing thing, that means I am now going to pull out the blow dryer and let it dry. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so we are back and I've rearranged things a little bit better so you can see the actual palette that I'm using to mix the colors for the beam paint because the beam paint is a primary palette. These paints were handmade in Canada by an indigenous person in Manitoulin Island. They're really lovely paints. I really like them a lot. I might go back and buy some more colors. And look how cute that birch bark palette is. Anyway, the first layer is dry. I did dry it with a blow dryer. And I am using my size 6 Artigria brush. And I'm just going through and adding a little bit more blue where I want it. So this layer of paint is still thin. It's not very thick, but it's not as thin as the first layer. So I'm just adding some blue and I'm working on the elephant ear. So I decided that I would do this elephant in sections. So we're doing the ear first and the top of the head where the ear is connected. And I'm just going through with blue and then I'm going to add some purple and then more blue and just progressively get it as dark as I would like. I'm getting used to these paints. This is only the second time I've ever used these paints, and the first time I was just doodling some hearts, basically. Yeah, I just really wanted to do an elephant blowing heart-shaped bubbles, not just for Valentine's Day, but also I ended up giving this to my mom for her 81st birthday. Unfortunately, I had to cut it to fit in the frame, and it doesn't look as good in the frame as it does in my sketchbook later. You'll see when it's done. One nice thing I'm learning is that watercolor is more forgiving than I thought it was. You can, I thought before you couldn't erase mistakes, and you can't erase them like with an eraser, but you can lighten them if you get in there quickly and you lift the paint off that you accidentally put on, or you could change the color and make it darker, you know? So I'm gradually learning how to use watercolor better, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm still a newbie. I've only been doing this for a few years, and because I really, really enjoy trying new products. So because of that, I have to get used to new products all the time. So if I didn't do that, if I would just stick with like a few things, I think it would be easier. But I really like trying new things. So here you can see I'm going with the purple. adding purple to the ear, moving my hand out of the way so I could look at it a little bit better. So this is not sped up at all. I might speed up the rest of it because it's slow going. Let me know in the comments whether you prefer to see a slower painting where you can see everything a person is doing, or whether you prefer it much sped up. I like both. It depends on my mood. I like it when it's slow like this. I can grab a cup of coffee and just really watch what the person is doing. But I also like it sped up, especially for acrylic painting. I like the sped up acrylic tutorials. For watercolor, I like to watch the water move and the paint move. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop talking and speed up the rest of the video in case you like it better that way. So give me a second. All right, so I have sped up the rest of this ear to 10 times faster than I actually paint. But that's done now, and now we are down to the regular speed because we're working on I want to say nose, but it's not a nose, a trunk. We're working on the elephant's trunk. So you guys, that's just like one layer of the ear. I will be going back and working on the ear again. So we're starting with the trunk, and I'm just using a very light blue color with a lot of water on it. And we're going up almost to where it touches the ear, but not quite. I'm leaving a bit of a space. I'm dabbing out somewhere I think I have too much water, or where the water went in the wrong area. I'm sorry my hand is in the way a little bit. And I'm just mixing different colors. I want the top of it to be a little bit darker. And this is going to change throughout as we work on it. I wish that my camera holder for recording videos, I wish it was on the left side of me instead of the right side of me so it would record from the left more, but there's nowhere to attach it. So unfortunately it's on the right, and I'm right-handed and we end up with this issue. I'm not sure how to fix that because I have nowhere on the left where I could hold on unless I attach it to the desk that I'm working on, but then every time I touch the desk moves and the camera jumps because it doesn't work that way. So you can see I've gone with a light purple trunk. And I think we'll speed up the rest of the trunk, okay? All right, so I have sped this up and we're going to keep going with the trunk and the eye. And then when that's done, I'm going to have to blow dry it before we move on to the next section. So you can see here, that's what I did. I really do like these bean paints. They're very nice. So everything's going to be in layers. It's going to be a slow going, but I think it works best this way. Okay, so we are back in real time. You can see that it's all dry now, and we're going to go into the little bit of purple, and we're going to start working on the body of the elephant. Now, in the picture that I was looking at, it was very, very dark right on the chest of the elephant. It's kind of hard to even see any details. So I decided maybe I would just go with that and make it really, really dark and not show a whole lot of details on the chest of the elephant. So this is real time. It's not fast. This is just exactly how I paint. I'm being very careful, and I'm just trying to outline where the chest goes underneath the face, and down into the water where it kind of disappears into the ripples. And I'm just doing it lightly with lots of water in the paint. And I'm just kind of moving that water around to where I want it to go. And then later, when I go with another color, it will still be wet enough that I shouldn't get any hard edges. So you can see the water's kind of pooling down at the bottom of the elephant chest where it meets the water. And I'm just trying to decide how far I want to go with this section, whether I want to go into the body or not with it. It's a really lovely paint. It really flows nicely. It feels, it doesn't feel, I know it's water paint and water paint is watery, but it feels more there than other paint that I've used. Like it has more substance. I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but sometimes when I paint with some water paints, it feels like I'm painting with nothing. And this feels more substantial, if that makes any sense. Now I'm going to start darkening up underneath. And this is just the first layer still of the elephant. We're going to go back again. So I'm adding more blue to the purple in the middle. And I'm adding more red. Now I want my paint to be not as watery as it was, but hopefully it's still wet on the chest so it won't make hard edges when I make it mix. And I really do like the way this watercolor blends nicely with itself. I'm still not happy with the color, so I'm adding more red. I wanted it more purple than that, like an almost black purple eventually is what I'll be going for. But the colors are beautiful. I'm really happy with all of the colors that you can mix with this paint. It's amazing the range you can get just from doing blue and purple. But they do dry more light than they look when they're wet, so you have to keep that into consideration. But I really, really did enjoy doing this. I was in the zone painting with this. I really, yeah, I love doing animals. I like landscapes, but I think I like landscapes with animals much better. I might even paint this painting again because I'm very sad that I cut it up to fit it into a smaller frame. I should have just, we were having a snowstorm the day that I needed to frame it, and I already had a frame, so I cut it down, and I'm really sad. Like, it still looks nice, and if you didn't know what it looked like before, it would be fine. So you can see I'm being a little bit careful as I paint because I just don't want to ruin it because I'm so happy with how it's coming out, even in these early stages. And I'm just kind of dabbing it instead of drawing like straight lines. I'm just using the brush and dabbing the lines. I'm just being a little bit more careful. And a lot of it is because I'm listening to music and I'm enjoying the process very much. When I was painting this painting, I was the most in the zone for painting that I've ever been, I think, in my life for painting with watercolor. This was just sheer enjoyment to me. And usually I'm a little bit stressed when I'm watercoloring. So listening to the Osmonds really helps me a lot while I'm painting. I'm gonna have to do that like all the time. So I don't know if this is boring to you. You know, I'm a newbie. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know how much value this has for you because it's not a tutorial. But if you're a newbie, or you're not even a newbie, but you're just thinking you would want to paint, I'm telling you, go out and buy yourself a set of paints. They don't have to be expensive paints, you know. You can get student grade paints. It's just so much fun. You don't have to be afraid to try. If you made a mistake, what's the worst that happens? You just try it again, right? And even making mistakes is good because it means you're learning. If you don't make mistakes, it means you're not learning anything new. So that's what I think anyway. And I was just so relaxed doing this, you guys. It was with everything going on in the world right now, if you could find something that makes you feel so good and so relaxed, it's so worth doing it. I know I'm dabbing out something that I didn't like and want it later. So you guys, I will fast forward the rest of this part of the elephant body, okay? Well, that was fast. We were just finished the elephant body. So now we're going to move on to the part of the ear that shows up under the face and the trunk. So I'm just going to go with some watery paint there, and we're going to add it, and you guys can't see that very well. So we will speed this up because my hand is in the way. I apologize for that. So I'm just working on that ear. This is 10 times faster than what I normally paint. I've sped it right up. All right, so I used the blow dryer to dry that, and this is what we have so far. Now everything's dry. We're going to work on the face. So I'm just going with a light blue, and we're going to dab in some paint around the eye. I probably should have waited on that eye, but I'm being very careful and dabbing the paint right over the eye. This is a very watery, thin paint right now. We're just trying to get the paper wet so we could work with a little bit of wet on wet. So I'm just dabbing out where I accidentally got some water on the tusk. I want to keep that tusk clean, but if there's a problem, that's okay because I can go over it later with some white gel pen if I need to, or white paint. I have some white paint that I could use, not watercolor paint. It's not acrylic either. I'm not sure what it is. It's Dr. Martin's pH white. So now I'm just adding some more blue, trying to keep that tusk clean. You can see I've got a lot of water on the page. I've got a little puddle at the bottom. I'm just using it to bring it up. This is only the first layer of the elephant. We'll be going over it again. I don't know if I recorded the whole thing though. We'll find out together. I think I did. Like I know I tried to record the whole thing, but sometimes if I'm recording a long video, my phone will just stop recording because I think it runs out of space. But sometimes it stops recording and there's lots of space left. So I don't know why it does that. But it's very annoying that it does do that. Just once in a while, too. Not often enough for me to find a pattern. Getting a lot of use out of that Kleenex. So I did lose a lot of the elephant head shape It's getting a little bit more round than I would like, but I do fix it a little bit later. Because when I drew it, I made sure to make it angular. And I didn't notice until much, much later, like in editing, that I lost the shape of the head at one point. But I get it back a little bit. This is how slow I really paint, you guys. And I'm just using the tip of the brush in most cases. The brush has a really lovely tip. It's really nice. I didn't have to switch out brushes very often at all. I did this whole painting with really two brushes, if you don't count the first brush that I used to apply water to the page. I'm just adding the darker purple. So I am really liking the purples and the blues together. They're not quite as balanced as I would like. We're nowhere near being close, but I am happy with how it's turning out. Sometimes I hold it back further away so I could get a better overview of it. I'm just looking to see where I need to change it. And now I've decided, I think, where we need some more darker purple. I'm going to add some to the ear here. I want to outline it, but make it not look like a cartoony outline. So I'm just doing little tiny brush strokes instead of like one long continuous line. I'm hoping that will help. So you can see I hold my brush like a pencil, and I need to stop doing that. But that's how I feel like I have the most control of the brush. A lot of artists hold their brush way further back, and I'm not good at that yet. I've tried it, and I don't have any control of the brush when I do that. If you paint, how do you hold your brush? So I'm just adding some darker paint here and there, stopping to look, hoping that I don't rest my hand in wet paint and smudge it, which is something I do way, way too much. Hey guys, so now I have sped the video up to 5 times my normal speed in painting because I was taking a very long time, and I'm just going through and darkening some spots with darker purple where I want it to be very, very dark. You could see here in the chest. And I'm just making like little tiny dabs with the paint. I'm not doing lines. Like like drawing lines, I'm not doing that. I'm just doing tiny little, I don't even know what you would call them, these little brush strokes. But I find it's really doing what I want it to do that way. So I'm trying to darken the ear under the tusk, trying to darken the top of the ear where there's like wrinkles and creases. And I am not doing wet on wet here. I am doing wet on dry here. I'm taking a look to see if I like it. I do. I am darkening up the other tusk. All right, so I blow dried that layer, and now we're going to work on the rocks. We are still at 5 times the speed of my normal painting. So don't think that I paint this fast. I do not even close. So we're working on the rocks in the background. And I want my rocks to have a lot of the same colors that are in my elephant. So we're using the same blue that is in the background and the same blue that is in the water so far and also in the elephant. I think this is a really pretty blue. I do like this set. I know I keep saying it, but this is a fun set to paint with, and it's fun to mix the colors yourself. And then once you've mixed them, all the colors go nicely together. So there we go with the rocks in the background. And next we're going to start with the water. So I am adding some blue and I'm going right over the yellow. Blue and yellow makes green. And I want that to be a greeny color in the front. And I'm going right up to the rocks so that the rocks kind of soak into the water like a shadow. And now I'm mixing up a little bit more paint. And we're going with the little circles, with the ripples. And I really enjoy painting water. I want to get better at painting water because water is one of my favorite things. We have a camp at Gooley Bay, which is on Lake Superior, and I spend a lot of time out there in the summer. If you get a chance, look at my camp videos. I have a playlist for camp, 2024 and 2023 so far. And you'll get to see Smokey, my talking parrot, in a lot of those videos. But anyway, Lake Superior is beautiful. I love kayaking. I love swimming. I love just walking by the water, just sitting by the water. So I take lots of pictures when I'm out there and I want to be able to paint them. So painting water and painting rocks is very important to me. It's something I really want to learn how to do better. And here you can see I'm leaving some white spaces for the weight of the water, but I do have those gravy paints that we'll be using soon, and they do have some metallic white that I could also use. So I'm not that worried about it. And I'm darkening some of the areas of the water now. I want to leave the left-hand side very, very light and bright. And unfortunately, that was the part that got cut out when I gave this to my mom. The whole left side of the page is gone and I just kind of cut out where the elephant itself is. So I blow dried everything, and now we are going to get out my white Crayola crayon and do some crayon resist. We're back to normal time now, you guys. So you see all these little hearts? I want them to have some little white spots on them. And I didn't do it at the very beginning because I wanted it to have the blue of the paint underneath so it was all matchy and not actually white. So when I do the crayon resist, you're going to see the blue that's already painted there underneath. But that's the effect that I wanted. So now I'm going with my crayon and everywhere where I color, the paint should not stick. So I'm just adding some spots of light to the balloons. Not the balloons, but the bubbles, the heart-shaped bubbles. So I'm just adding to every one of these hearts that I think should have a highlight with this crayon. And I probably should have done that with the tusks too, but I decided I wanted to paint the tusks. I didn't want them just white because the tusks have some shadows on them, some shading. So I left those. I didn't do them. So now I am cleaning up my paint. We won't be using this anymore. I'm just going to move it to the side and we're going to be working with the Grabie Metallic paint. We have 40 beautiful metallic colors to work with and a very good price for the 40 colors. I think I paid 21 Canadian on Amazon.ca. And look how beautiful that tin is. Isn't that pretty? And it has lots of spaces to mix your paints and look how gorgeous those colors are. So now we're going to fix this up and make it look nice. I have some water and I'm going to spray it down. So we did do a video of unboxing these paints and we did a video of swatching these paints. And now we're going to be using them. And I think I did a video where I painted something with them, but I can't remember what it was. So there's the swatches on the Grabie paper. You can see what they look like. I really love these paints. They're so much fun. And now look at my painting right now of my elephant and my water. You're going to see a big difference coming up pretty soon. It's going to look so much nicer. And now I am using my Artigria size 6. I really love this brush. This is the brush we've used for all of the paintings so far. This one in the size 4. We just used the big flat one to add water at the very beginning. So we're going to work on this biggest heart now. I'm just wetting it down. You can see I've got a little bit of blue in my brush. It's very, very watery. And I'm dabbing my brush to get rid of some of that water. And I don't think you can see the color that I'm choosing from the Grabie. That's a shame. So we're going to go, okay, you can see it. We're going to go into this purple. I'm testing it to see if that's the color I want. I do. And now we're going to, the heart is already wet. So we're going to add this and look how nice it bursts out. So I'm just dropping in some purple paint. And don't forget, I've already gone over with crayon. So wherever there's crayon, it will not put down color, which is really nice. And I could have gone for the smaller brush for this big heart. I think it probably would have been better to use the smaller brush. But we will switch brushes pretty soon. I'm just cleaning off my brush and we're going to go into the next color over. We're just going to dab some of that. It's like a more of a rosy purple color. It has more red in it, like a pinky. We're just going to dab that in, let it mix and do whatever it wants. Maybe encourage it a little bit with the brush. And you can see that pretty color right there. And you can see where the crayon resist totally worked on that one. And I'm just adding a little bit of darker purple along the one edge, using small strokes now, and the tip of the brush. These brushes do have really lovely tips. Because the paper is still damp, I'm not getting any hard edges, which is really nice. And that big pop of color right there is really balancing out the painting now. So whenever you see me off camera not doing anything, that's just me rinsing my brush. So we will speed up for the rest of the hearts now that you've seen the first one. Okay, so now we are at 5 times faster than I can normally paint. I've sped up the video, and we are going to continue on with these little bubble hearts that our happy little baby elephant is blowing. So I'm doing a little pink heart now, and you can clearly see the crayon resist is okay. It worked fine on that one. These metallic paints are really lovely. It's hard to see how shiny they are on the paper when they're wet, but once they're dry, you can really see them. So now I've moved to my smaller brush, still Artigria, because we have all these teeny tiny hearts now. And by the way, I only drew the big heart with the cookie cutter. All the rest I just hand drew because I needed smaller hearts. So I've got all these beautiful colors to choose from, but I've decided that pink and purple and blue are probably the best to stick with, are the white. It's really hard to see how shiny these are, but they're super shiny in real life. Isn't that a pretty blue? Beautiful. And I like these little pops of color that don't show up everywhere else. It makes them really stand out when the rest of the stuff, is a little bit different. But we are going to go over the water and the elephant with metallics too. And it's going to totally change the way everything looks. So I had so much fun doing this painting, you guys. I hope you're enjoying watching this. I know this isn't my typical kind of content that I put out on the channel, but there's going to be more art stuff because I love doing art stuff as well as crafts. And we do have a lot of diamond painting throughout the year, so don't worry. If you came here for the diamond painting, there will be more diamond painting because I love it. There will be more crochet. There will be more of everything. All right, so we're back in real time now, and I am finished with the hearts, and I am taking a look and deciding what colors I want to use to go over the rocks and the elephant and the water to kind of bring everything together. And I'm starting with the white, and we're going to test this out and add some white. I'm kind of scared to do it because I don't want to ruin what I have, and we're adding some white water, so there's like a little kind of splashy, bubbly effect. In my mind, the elephant's standing at the top of a river, and there's the rocks. There's a drop off behind those rocks, and it's a small waterfall. So I'm trying to do where the water's rushing toward the rocks a little bit, and then they're gonna drop behind. That's what I had in my mind anyway. Not a big waterfall, just like maybe a 6-inch waterfall where it drops to another level. Like you see on rivers and streams sometime where it just drops down a little bit. Not like a Niagara Falls waterfall. It's a little gentle one. So I am liking the way this white looks, so I'm adding more. And we are still in real time. This is just my real painting. So then a lot of times I'll just stop and take a look at my painting and try to decide what I want to do next. And sometimes I just go in and I don't even think, I just do it. I don't know which way is better. I usually do a combination of both. And now I'm adding some weight to some of the bubbles, the balloons. They're not balloons, they're heart bubbles. And I'm adding some more of the bubbly water around the elephant. And I take a look at it, see if I like it. I'm trying to show you the sparkle. I do enjoy metallic paints a lot. I like shiny things. What can I say? I think I was a crow in another life. Crows like shiny things too. And now I'm going to some green because I don't want that yellow as it is. And it looks more yellow because a lot of that yellow paint is on the tape, and that won't be in the painting. But I want it more of a greeny color. So how about we speed up now for the water, okay? And now we are all sped up, you guys. We're just going in and we're gonna play with the water and the rocks and the elephant and everything and metallic it all up a little bit. So I'm just gonna go from place to place, wherever my eye catches, wherever I decide I want it to be a little bit darker or a little bit sparkly. And we're just gonna make this a little bit prettier, more contrast. What do you think? I'm just going where the dark shadows should be on the elephant now, using that dark purple to go over the purple that we mixed. And there's a color that's not showing on here, but it's like a smoky black. It's not black, but it's like a brownie black. And I'm adding that in as well, just in a few places. But for the most part, I'm using the purple for the dark. And outlining that tusk. I still haven't noticed that one tusk is pointy and the other one isn't. I fixed that at the very end with I'm not sure what I used. I can't remember, but I did fix it. I think I used the purple. I might have used a marker. I can't remember, but I did fix the tusk. So we're just going in to make a lot of the wrinkles darker, taking a look to see how I like it. I'm darkening that ear that's underneath the tusk, the ear that's on top, taking a look, putting them down. And now we're going to darken some of these rocks, some of the lines in the water. Just needed that contrast, you know? And now it's looking more stylized because of those lines in the water. I think, anyway. And now I'm washing my brush. Every time you see me doing nothing, I'm just washing my brush. I'm really happy with how it's looking so far, but we're going to keep going. I'm adding that kind of white that has a little bit of green in it now to bring the green out more. Just giving the water a sparkle because I just want to bring that green that we have in there so it's not just in that one spot, you know? I'm trying to show you the sparkle. Hang on. And I'm just adding this sparkle everywhere where I think it would look better. Just trying to make the water look a little bit nicer. We're in real time again, by the way, in case you didn't notice how slow it looks now. So it looks nice and shiny. It's looking really pretty. I'm very happy with how it's looking out. I had so much fun doing this, you guys. So I'm just adding some of that shine to some of the bubbles, the heart-shaped bubbles. To the blue ones, I'm adding the green shine. It's like a white with a little bit of green in it. Just so that they have some of the shine from the water. because I want it to look like the elephant used the water from the lake that he's in or the river to make those bubbles, you know? And I'm just checking to make sure it's the way I like, cleaning my brush, adding more of the original white. It's kind of a silvery white. We're going to add that to the pink and the purple bubbles now, just so that they have a little bit of glitter too. I know they are all glittery, but because I have the white in the water and not in the bubbles, I did want to add it to the bubbles as well. I'm taking a close-up look at the shine and the shimmer. I'm very happy with my elephant. And I think that's all we have to do pretty soon is to blow dry it. No, I'm going to add a little bit more green to the water. Just right out in the front here. Still not happy with how yellow it was looking. I don't want it to look like the elephant peed in the water. Showing you how it looks. Super cute. I really do like it. And I think now the blow dryer. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, blow dryer time, you guys. And now I am going with my Ohuhu fine liner. It's a drawing pan, 0.3. You can see how tiny that tip is. We're still in real time. I'm going to go fix up these the tusks where I'm not happy with the lines. So we're outlining the tusk, we're outlining the eyes. We're just wherever I think it needs a little bit of black ink to really make it pop. And now I'm looking at this other one. And it's still not curving up the back one. I still wasn't sure whether I was going to make it curve or not at this point. Because sometimes they have a broken tusk, you know? I do eventually fix it. So anyway, let me speed up this line marking because it is painfully slow. Give me a second. So this is sped up 10 times faster than I would normally do, and I'm just going with my black um pen and just outlining where I think it needs more shadows and contrast, you know, but not a lot, just like a little bit here and there. And also my camera stopped recording, but I did the same thing with my Uniball Signo, and I added just some dots for splashes up on the elephant's chest where I thought it was too dark. You can see a little bit of it there, but it didn't catch up. Anyway, here's what it looks like, you guys, all finished. I'm so happy with it. I did go back and finish that tusk, and that's it. Anyway, I hope you liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of those things that help me as a channel. And most importantly of all, take care, stay safe, happy crafting. Bye, guys.